So you're excited about buying a business. Maybe you want to get a vending machine to be that little appetizer while you still work full time. Maybe you want to become a real estate investor. But here's a question. How do you know when you're ready? We're going to have this conversation with the one and only Bo Eckstein, who focuses on helping people in the small business arena. Bo, this is an important topic because there's lots and lots of interest out there. But how do you know when you're talking to somebody that they are ready to make that move? What are you seeing?
Well, I think the toughest thing is a lot of people in their mind are ready to buy their first rental property, buy a business, right? But out of all the people that are watching this channel, how many are actually buying rentals? How many actually are investing into a business? And that's the real question. So I talk to like tons of people every day, anywhere from 5 to 8 people a day on average. Mm-hmm. And it's usually around the same topic. And it's like, well, so like I started thinking like, what can I do in the beginning to kind of figure out if they're ready or not? And basically, instead of them fantasizing about it and like them wasting 2 or 3 months of their time looking at businesses and like what actually does determine if you're ready, you know? And that, I think that's kind of the element of like who takes action and who doesn't take action. I think it's important to like figure out like how many people watch your podcast and take action versus don't. And we don't know. Obviously, it's hard to dictate, but a lot of people get ready, but never take action. So like, how do we eliminate that? And like, so I kind of started working on building a framework of like, what questions should I ask somebody to see if they're ready? And so here's what I've got. I'd love to get your feedback
Sure.
on what your thoughts are. Okay. So basically the framework, it works like this. It helps people determine if they're ready for ownership, not just interested in it. It replaces guesswork with self-awareness and structure, and it prevents people from buying the wrong business at the wrong time. And so the 5 readiness lenses are identity shift. Employee, they have to go from an employee to an actual owner mentality. So W-2 equals paid for time and compliance. Owner equals paid for decisions and responsibility. Soundbite here is ownership isn't about working less, it's about thinking differently.
I think I love that that's the first one, because again, that's a mental shift that first and foremost, certainly not everybody's ready to make. And I would argue that a lot of people will never make it. I think there's lots of people that are interested in a business and the sexiness and the Alex Ramosys and the Cody Sanchez, but they're so wired to get paid by the hour that they never make that mental shift. And for you, right, as somebody who's trying to help people do that, I think that's an important first step, right? If you can't get out of the hourly mindset, that's a great step one. That's a great conversation.
And then the step 2 is financial reality, not fantasy. Key questions here. How long can you go without full income? Do you need cash flow now or later? W-2 is predictable. Business income is delayed but scalable. Most businesses don't fail. People run out of runway, right? Yeah. So that's like on this stage, it's like, okay, is your plan to do gateway business, right? Is your plan to go full-time into a business? I think that's a big, right? And so we're getting a lot of people into vending, and why? It's because it's a gateway business and they can still keep their job, which isn't a bad thing. And sometimes it's the best thing.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense for me why a lot of ORAT fans are like, hey, I want to do vending. I want to give it a shot. I want to work with a family member. Maybe it's a teenage child. Maybe it's a sister, uncle, aunt, whoever. But it's a way that, hey, I could get it because I have a high W-2. I get the tax benefit. And also I can involve family members in this business. Makes complete sense to me. But again, I love this as step 2, because you're absolutely right. Fantasy or not, right? Could you survive a year? Can you survive 6 months? Because again, running a business is not only unpredictable, but it also takes time to scale. I don't care what you're trying to do, lose weight, learn a market, play in the stocks, whatever it is. It takes time to build momentum and expertise. So living in a world where you think you're going to get, all these franchises say, hey, the average income is X. I think a lot of people come into this going, hey, I'm going to hit X the first year. And that's probably not true. It's probably X in year 3 or X in year 4. It's not X year 1. And I think people just need to come into this going, hey, I'm going to grow into this thing. I'm going to learn. I'm going to make some mistakes. And oh, by the way, I'm safe because I have this security blanket behind me. And I think those people are a lot more, I think they stay in the game longer, because anybody who's like, hey, I got to pay the bills and I can't do that, they're short term and they make very risky decisions.
Yeah, and I also think like there's people that have nothing to lose. So like the worst case scenario, like they have to either go all in or and they have no other options. But then there's like the middle road person who's like they've got a little bit and they don't want to lose and they don't want to take the wrong step. And then so like this part of the thing plan is I'm working on is I call it a transition playbook, right?
Oh, okay.
How much liquidity do you have? Do you have any passive or semi-passive income coming in today? Does your spouse work? Like, because that will dictate, does it really make sense for you to go full-time into something? Because obviously if you can go full-time into something, you're going to be probably a lot more successful early on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just the way, like when you go all in on something, you're usually going to achieve. Now, lens number 3 goes to risk awareness, not risk tolerance. Key questions here. Are you more afraid of losing money or staying stuck? Next one is, how do you react when things don't go as planned? And then a W2 risk feels invincible. W2 risk feels invisible. Ownership risk is visible but manageable. So like what I'm doing with this essentially is I'm trying to construct like real questions that I can, and I'm going to call it the business ownership readiness, really getting even deeper so I can pinpoint. If people fail to, like if they answer questions and it's clear that owning a business today isn't the right way, then I know, hey, look, you need to do a gateway business or find a partner, because its reality is you're not going to make a transition. And that's like what I'm trying to eliminate and help people get deep clarity. So this is kind of my framework as we're going through it. And then I'm going to actually do it so people can actually take it and I get the results and they get the results and we talk through this. Because once I know these questions, then I can say, look, a gateway business is clearly your best path right now, because you're not going to transition. You only have 3 months of reserves, right? Like in our transition plan, we want to see 9 to 12 months of reserves, right? If you're going full-time into a business. Time, and then the next one, lens 4, is time, leverage, and role clarity. Key questions here. Do you want to do the work or design the system? Are you escaping a job or building an asset? Employees trade time for money. Owners build leverage through people and systems.
Yeah, this again just goes back to the fact that you got to make sure the person's willing and able to do this. And again, it is completely okay. We are not all entrepreneurs. I know it's sexy. I know running a business is everybody's dream, but some of us, damn it, we just need to be employees, or to your other point, maybe partner with someone that is an entrepreneur and make it the dynamic duo and get after it. So I think you're onto something. I like what you're doing here.
Freedom doesn't come from working less; it comes from leverage, right? Like, and so a lot of us think like, hey, yeah, I'm going to get 10 rental properties and I'll be able to work less. But the reality of it is, I mean, you look at the average American and you talk about their finances, they're nowhere near ever, they're going to need another 15 years to get to a point where they can retire. And like, we have fantasy, a lot of us have fantasy in our mind thinking, oh, I'm going to be able to, but like, if you really look at the cost of living and what you have right now, what does that mean? Like, if you get Social Security and you have $2,000 or $3,000 a month in 15 or 20 years, it's not going to help you. It's going to help you barely anything. The fifth lens here is emotional and decision readiness. Key questions here. Can you make decisions without permission or consensus? How do you handle uncertainty? W2 environments buffer pressure. Ownership concentrates pressure. And the soundbite here is, business is the fastest personal development program there is.
Yes. Love that. Yeah. Love that. Yeah. Again, this is a great framework, because I can absolutely see why you would need to deploy this, because you really need to make sure you're helping the right people, right? You're getting more and more entry or interest because you're good at this, but you also need to guard your time, and being able to take somebody through this 5 or 6 step framework is really going to help you be more efficient and help people calling go the right direction, right? Because buying a business isn't right for everybody. Maybe it's a partner, maybe it's a gateway business. Let's just find out together quickly what's right for you. So this framework makes complete sense.
Yeah, I normally don't like having partnerships. Or like when I did real estate flipping, for example, It's like when I had partners, it was like somebody would make a decision that maybe you didn't agree with. And then it's like, but when I started looking at doing this kind of business acquisition family office model, I said, actually, I like this because all three of us are putting money into the deal, and each of us has a different skill set. We have a CFO, fractional CFO type guy. We have a good relationship guy, and I'm kind of overall like marketing and understanding, key concepts of different business models. So like it collectively works, and I like that model. And I do think entrepreneurship is very lonely sometimes. Like when you're doing it and it's like extremely lonely because like some people don't understand what you're going through. Like, because if you're a high drive person, like I would consider myself, like I have a high drive. I consider you have a very high drive, like a Belgian Malinois dog. Like you see a ball, you want to get it, right? Like,
yeah.
If you're wired like that, it is a lonely endeavor because you start doing stuff on your own. And even in the W-2 world, if you're geared like that, you don't really have. It's not that I don't have a lot of friends, but I keep to myself more, right? Because I'm focused, I'm driven. So like you got to figure out where you really align yourself. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to get it honed in. And on top of the Zoracle profile, these would be the first questions I ask. It's not done yet, but those are the first questions I would ask. Because I think because like I told the guy yesterday, he was an ORAC guy. He lives in San Diego, and he had just gotten laid off. He's like a clinical researcher, very smart guy.
Mm.
And it was like the second or third time I think he's gotten laid off, and it's like, yeah, like at some point you don't want to get laid off. You want to be in control of your destiny.
Yeah.
So it's just like, how do you get the people in the framework? And I basically told him this: look, if you're committed to the process, that's all I'm looking for. I can't tell you right now if a business is right for you because it's just too new. But the people that say, yes, I will commit to researching with you and looking at businesses. And then in the future, if that doesn't work, and we might just decide collectively, look, let's do a gateway business because you really need a W-2 and you need tax write-offs and you need something that's simple. Or there are people that are ready to go in deep. My suggestion, though, if you have the capability and the means, that you do go in, because that's all in, because you will get the best results that way. Meaning, like you get into an operating business, I think but you have to have the transition plan. You have to have a couple months of reserves, 9-12 months of reserves, 9 months, 12 months, ideally, right? I don't want to see somebody that's putting their last penny in a deal and quitting their W-2, because it's probably not going to work. Most businesses fail because they run out of cash flow. I see it every day.
Love it. Bo, you're amazing. Thank you for doing this. Again, folks, if you don't know, he created a domain just for us. Yes, only us. It's right there on the screen, onerentalmeeting.com. Go there, book your 15 minutes. Let Bo Eckstein help you understand what is right for you. Bo, you're amazing. Take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Cool.
Nope. I have to be able to push the button. Why do you want to push the button? There.